Colton's going to get slapped.
All right.
Oh, wait, hold on. Are we all drinking water today? Guess it's just me.
For now, I guess.
You don't know what's in my cup.
That's true.
I've been sick for 3 weeks straight, so
Well,
I have to hide mine.
I might need a little.
Colton needs some Corey's tea.
I do.
Yeah.
Or a little whiskey to numb the throat.
Oh, we got some whiskey.
I got some.
What's your flavor?
we're recording.
Dude, it just came out. Sorry.
Jeez, Corey is getting blocked.
Wow.
On that note, welcome to the Okayest Cook podcast. This is episode 11. And today we are talking grilling. Mm-hmm. So it is officially that season, no matter your stance. You know, I know some houses, we are seasonal grillers. Or we are not seasonal
Year-round,
grillers.
maybe.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
year-round. Yeah,
year-round.
we grill in the snow, grill in the rain. You know, I built a pergola just for that, so I can grill in the rain.
It's also National Grilling Month.
It is National Grilling Month. Yeah, you mentioned that. Well, I'm Chris Wanseller, the host of Okayest Cook, and I'm joined by my 3 faithful co-hosts. We are all back at the table today. It feels nice. We're back in the kitchen. It feels nice. Today, I'm going to introduce them ranked by who I think is messiest in the kitchen. And this one's tough. I'll be honest. Because in previous episodes, I feel like all of you mentioned how clean you are as you cook. You all tidy up as you cook, and I'm the only one that's just kind of like throwing crap wherever. So it's a tricky one, yeah, for me. But I'm gonna start with Colton Heiniger, and then we'll go
I believe that.
Corey Cole, Andy Heiser.
I just don't know the order, though. We don't know if it's up or down.
I'm the cleanest.
That's up for you guys to decide. Yeah,
Convinced he's probably cleanest.
Corey's in the middle. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, but I don't like anything laying on the counters.
I feel like Krista would agree with this order. You
think you're messy?
I think I'm cleaner than.
Cleaner than Colton?
No, I think I'm cleaner than most.
Cleaner than me?
Yes, 100%.
Yes. All right. So I did skip this last week, and I kind of got some heat from Andy. So what did you guys eat this week?
Well,
are you going to repeat yours that you had on?
Yes,
on deck for last week.
On the deck for last week. I'll go ahead and talk about that one. It was kind of a cool story. I had a roast set aside actually for a venison roast that I was going to do, and honestly, I wasn't super stoked about doing a venison roast. I really wanted something to do something else with it, but I had it and I thought it and I was ready for it. And Austin's home from school and he wanted steaks, and I was like, well, roast is a steak, right? And so I looked at the piece of meat, and it was set up pretty well to cut it up into really thick venison steaks, which I haven't really tried yet. And they turned out phenomenal.
Nice.
And there was enough of them to not only feed us for the dinner, but also I've had it as leftovers all week too. So steak and eggs in the morning. So that
is one topic on the steak episode that I feel like I neglected. Well, we kind of mentioned it, right? Reheating.
Yeah.
So cooking leftover steak.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I remember this because Corey said he just doesn't have leftovers. So it's
very rarely.
Yeah.
But it's funny you say that.
We'll revisit that later on.
Yes.
It's funny you say that because my meal would be a steak that I did not get to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I made it for my wife and Addie. Paisley doesn't touch it, and I didn't get to eat it. So I had to save it because I was having stomach issues at night and just couldn't. So I ate it for today for lunch.
Cold?
But so what I did is I threw 3 sticks of butter in the oven.
Jesus.
Corey with the butter.
Is it serious?
Yeah, 3 sticks of butter in the oven in a pan. And then I did a cast iron sear with a stick of butter.
So this is not a cooked steak. You're not reheating.
Oh, yeah.
It was cooked.
So it was cooked. This was
drowning it
previously
in butter.
So
that's the way to go.
I did a whole stick of butter in the cast iron,
Oh my God.
and I just salted it heavily, pan seared it, threw it in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes, and then when Jess and Addie, I threw some rosemary garlic seasoning on in there as well.
Yes.
But when after I made their plates for them and I said I got to walk away because I want to eat this and I can't, I said, please, when you save this for me, put all of that butter in the dish with it. So when I got
encased in butter, yeah.
So when I got to the office today and I pulled it out, it was that thick of butter, and there was a piece of T-bone in there somewhere.
just floating.
So
Yes.
I had to keep hitting reheat on the microwave, and now I'm using my office's microwave. So who knows how long these things have been in there?
Man.
They look really old, and everyone kept coming in. We're like, dude, what does that smell like? I don't know,
Butter.
man.
It's butter. It's definitely
It smells good
sticks
though.
of butter.
And then I got it out, and they were like, "What in the world is that?" And I'm telling you, it was fire.
I
Nice.
bet.
Nice.
3 sticks of butter will do that.
Put enough butter on anything, it'll be good.
Turn me down a bit.
I felt like I needed to take a shower afterwards.
Just get some of the grease off you.
Nice.
Dude, that's hilarious.
So that was my meal.
Yes.
I feel like I got to stay on the steak train now. I did ribeyes again this week, and I'm trying to put into practice all the things we keep talking about.
Yes.
So I let them thaw, or not thaw. I let them dry out in the fridge for a couple days. I let them sit on the counter for an hour before I threw them on the charcoal grill, and they were.
What do you think? Can you tell?
Oh yeah. Letting them sit out, like come to room temp, has been like the biggest thing for me. And then
Where do you salt? Where are you putting that? Like, are you salting beforehand or as you cook?
I do right before.
Okay.
A lot of debate on that. I'm sure we could get
Yes,
into,
yes.
but
Yeah, sick. Well,
I err on the side of right before.
cover the gas.
What do you do?
Well, so 2 weeks ago, I was at Professional Outdoor Media Association conference and just met tons of really cool people and met Ricky. I'm blanking on her last name, but she's Wild and Forged, an Instagram chef. And like, we just talking food like the whole week. And I want to do like I want to interview her about salt. So I'm sure she'll have some insight on like when do you salt. And I know Danielle Pruitt's real big on like salting an hour before.
And so
or, like,
that's what I did
24
on the
hours
steaks
before.
that I was talking about with Austin. I was very intentional about salting before I took them out to sit. So they had salt on them for at least 90 minutes before actually.
We won't talk about it now.
Yeah.
We'll table the conversation on salt, because I feel like that's gonna come.
Yeah.
Because I want to do a salt specific episode with Ricky.
Yeah, I think
Because she has some thoughts on
I think that'd be
all
good.
the salts.
Be
So
good.
so in the pipeline somewhere. But also at this conference, I'm going to butcher his last name. I practiced and I'm still going to butcher it. But Danny Hieronymus. It's Hieronymus. Hieronymus, I think. Hieronymus. Hieronymus Provisions on Instagram. He cooked for us all week, and it was just spectacular.
That sounds awesome.
But he was very intentional about like cooking local. So like just like Jason was talking about last week, wherever he goes to cook, he just like really dives into that culture in that city and just
That's
That's awesome.
hammers like local food. And, he's from the South. I think he's from North Carolina. We were in South Carolina. So he did the Low Country boil for us one night.
Nice. That's awesome.
Dude, that was dynamite. And he told us like the whole history of the boil, and the traditional ingredients are literally just sausage, corn, potatoes. I think that's it. So just those three things, but it was dynamite. Dude, it was so good. Just
That's awesome.
shrimp, yeah. Almost forgot the shrimp, so shrimp, sausage, potatoes, corn, all the seasonings, of course, but it was so good. Love
Sounds
it.
awesome.
Sounds
He also
good.
made alligator bites.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
like
About
deep
that.
fried alligator. I'm doing two foods this week, but I can't hold them for next. The deep fried alligator was super good, and I kind of want to try it with frogs.
Yeah.
He said he wouldn't bother because it'd be just a pain in the butt to pull all the meat off the bones and not do frog legs. But I think it would work real well.
What alligator tastes like?
Chicken.
Frog?
Okay.
It's literally
it
like a
does.
mix of like chicken and fish.
Okay.
If you just like combine the two. So it's kind of it's not as flaky as fish, but it's way fishier than chicken.
Okay.
And it's more like flaky and more tender than chicken, I would say.
Interesting.
Tender in a fishy flesh
I
kind of
think
way.
it's
So
good.
great
Makes sense.
deep fried.
It's a good
Yeah,
explanation.
great deep fried. Yeah.
It's good on pizza.
Okay.
Yes, all the foods. So, we guys ready to dive in
Let's
here?
do
There's not really a great segue. I guess with all your steaks, that would have been a good segue.
Normal
Instead
segue
of-
here.
Instead of
Let's go.
ending on the low country oil. Today we're talking grilling. And just, I don't know if we'd consider this like an intro to grilling or just like breaking down some methods, talking about what we like to grill.
Yeah,
We might be all over the board.
I'd love
here.
to go over some tips and trips about each of these that maybe we've learned over the years and things that we can each try and see if we can elaborate on that, especially with the grilling methods themselves, because I know that we all kind of dabble across a lot of these for funsies even today. And then, and
We'll right off the bat, like I want to draw some lines.
okay.
And I feel like they're kind of obvious, but I want to say smoking is off the table right now. Like we're not going
Yeah,
to talk smokers.
that's
We're not going to
separate.
talk any kind of smoking.
Easy for me. My beer holders here.
But I will, flat top, I think is definitely grilling, right? I mean,
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
ever a debate
I actually,
in
when
anybody's
I was
mind but
looking at the
mine?
notes, I was like,
Where's flat top?
Where's
Yes.
that at?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a big thing now too.
Yeah. Oh, it's hot. Yeah, for sure. So flat top, we'll talk charcoal, gas, campfire.
Yeah.
We'll dabble on a little bit of it all. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Sweet.
What do you guys prefer? Like, do you guys have a specific go-to?
Charcoal.
I'm with Corey there.
I mean, gas is easy, but
Charcoal is definitely preferred, but is it like legit your go-to? Like you do like every time you grill, it's gonna be on charcoal.
I have a very nice gas grill that's sitting with a cover on it.
Yes.
I have a free charcoal grill that I got from Uline. That's a tabletop version
Yeah.
that I
That's all
grill
you use.
everything on. That's all I
Sick.
use.
Love it.
Same here. I've done gas grilling for years, I feel like, but then when we moved, I had an old gas grill we got rid of. I got a $30 old Weber that my brother got for free, I think, and then sold me for $30. So I'm not sure how that
Weird
works.
how that works.
Yeah.
But I'm with Corey. I use that every time I grill.
Nice.
Even with other options. It's this past year I've been experimenting a lot with it because they're tricky if you don't. I mean, even now they're still tricky, but
Oh, it's like Spanish. Like you gotta
Yeah.
keep up with it to.
But I've
be good.
learned, and I don't know how deep we're going to get right now, but
We
specifically
can
on
go deep.
charcoal.
Yeah. Start off charcoal. Unless Andy wants to talk about
Mine,
gas.
I'm on the other side of that fence.
Okay.
We talked about this at the top. I grill year round. So,
Yeah.
and I do all my meal prep. But honestly, I would say I do 90% of my cooking in general on my grill or on the burner on the outside of my grill, just because mainly,
Yeah.
especially with the wild game, it's, it doesn't put off all of the fun aromas that you get from ground beef.
Yeah.
So it's nicer to keep that out of the house. So
Yeah,
I use
sure, yeah.
gas almost exclusively at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm probably with Andy as well. Like just for convenience sake.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the flavor
yes.
of charcoal.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah. I
get me
definitely
wrong.
prefer charcoal.
I
But
just I don't have the time or patience for it in that
Yeah.
scenario.
most of the time when I'm grilling, it's like, 5:00. We need food. So I don't have time for that charcoal to get prepped and ready.
That'll be a good split then. If you guys both do
Yeah.
gas a lot and we do charcoal.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Let's dive into charcoal because literally today I used my charcoal grill. I whipped it back out.
Yeah.
I literally had a phone call with Rockwood Charcoal. Like we'll talk about that later on here. But yeah, fired up the charcoal grill and it was okay. Yeah, per the name of the podcast, it just turned out all right. But like you said, like I haven't used it in probably a year and a half.
Well,
and I just
if that's the case,
way out of
I
practice.
ate the wings and they were fine.
They were okay. Yeah, it wasn't great. Yeah, but they were just okay. So Colton, Corey, like you guys can take it off. Talk charcoal. Like obviously I want to talk fuel. I think that'd be a great conversation. I don't know when you guys want to put that.
So I recently actually have not been using fuel at all.
You gotta use fuel.
I haven't been. I actually
You got no fire with no fuel.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
for
hang
those
on.
of you at home, what is fuel? Define that, please.
I have a friend of mine. You know that like the grill starters, like the Home Alone used on the door.
Yes.
A buddy of
Electric
mine,
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got me one. So I'm like, dope. I'm gonna throw this in there and use that. So that I legit probably for the last 4 or 5 months. That's what I've been using.
Okay, I guess when I'm saying fuel, I'm like, yeah, what is producing the heat?
So I use a mix of charcoal and wood.
Yeah, okay.
The cowboy mix. That's what I prefer.
Yeah,
but I've
like
not
the briquettes with the wood into it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I have not been using any type of fuel
starter
to get it started.
Fire starter.
Yeah. There, that's the definition.
Yeah, that's my definition.
So I prefer to use a mix.
Yeah. So briquettes with wood charcoal briquette.
Yep.
That you're starting with the electric thing. I don't think it does matter. I was about to say like how you start your fire doesn't really matter, but I think it definitely does.
It does. The whatever fuel you use or whatever.
Gonna
taste it. So I
would disagree.
I really like it because I can. So I'm done at 4 o'clock on my day, but Jess is not. She doesn't get home until 5, so I can plug that thing in outside, and then let those get hot for over an hour.
Yeah.
Before she gets home, and then it's piping hot by the time she's it's fire red when she's ready. I mean, and it even does catch flame because that wind is going through there and catching flame. So
there's wood.
I like it. It sometimes it can get frustrating because you got to move it around a little bit.
Yeah.
Granted, my grill is this big, so it doesn't fit all the way down in it. So I have to put it in at an angle and then keep changing sides. But I like it.
Nice.
I haven't used the wood. I just old school. I guess out of convenience. Same reason you guys use gas or whatever. But I just get the charcoal briquettes, and I use the what's it called? What's the circular thing that you start them in?
The little chimney.
The chimney.
Yeah, I just use a chimney and lighter fluid, and I let them just go for 30 minutes. And I mean, I don't know the science behind it, so maybe I'm wrong here, but I've done it both ways with just starting it with a fire starter underneath and lighter fluid. Once the coals are white, I never noticed a taste difference. So I think so, yeah. I just use lighter fluid now because it's easy.
Yeah.
And maybe it does burn off.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know, maybe it does.
That's what I've heard. I'm not a scientist. I don't know if it's true, but
we're just okay at this.
But it's got to burn off. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. So,
But I'm curious, Corey, especially how you do it. My brother told me this a couple weeks ago, and I've been struggling with the charcoal grill for the past year since I got it, because I generally will I dump my layer of coals over the bottom, try to cook stuff on it, and sometimes stuff comes out great, sometimes it doesn't. It's hit or miss. But then what changed the game for me is, I don't know why I've never done this with the charcoal before, because I do this with the cast iron, I do it with every other form of cooking, but instead of a thin layer of coals, just doubling up my coals and just doing 1/2 of the grill. So then I get a good sear on my steaks over the hot coals, and I move them to the offset side, and then just in the gear episode I mentioned thermometer, right? So then I just move them to the offset side and then just bring them up to temp, and they come out consistent and perfect. Yes. I'll say every time, but I've only done that method 3 times at this point. But
that's every time.
Yeah, those ribeyes I did this week were.
That's what I do.
Indirect is huge.
Yeah.
And that's I think a technique that we can talk about, and regardless whether they're talking about charcoal, also in gas. The utilizing your burners at different temperatures. I think it's natural when you first start using a grill, especially on a gas grill, to set everything on high, get it warm, and then you move everything down. I'm a big believer, and I keep one of my 3 hot, hot, so I can do exactly that, sear, and then move.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, bouncing back to fuel real quick. So talking to Rockwood, I think that, again, could be a standalone podcast, because this guy was super cool. He, let me pause.
They're based in Missouri, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
so.
They do the lump charcoal that you see everywhere. Okay.
They do. They do. It's cowboy mix.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what lump charcoal is? I guess.
Yeah, it's basically it's wood, and then they have little charcoal biscuits in there too. So.
So it's no. It's literally just hunks of wood. That they put in the kiln and just literally turn to charcoal. So there's no briquettes at all.
Oh, there's no briquettes.
No briquettes. Yeah, it's just like I said. I wish I used all of it today. Otherwise, I'd bring it in here and show you. But talking to Jonathan was super, super cool. I sent him an email and I was like, hey, can you chat today. I'm
Yeah.
filming a podcast later on, and he called me like an hour later.
Oh, that's cool.
I believe he's the founder of
on.
Rockwood. Yeah, so super cool conversation with
Thank
him.
you, Jonathan.
They've got
thank you.
tons of information like about their brand and like what they do and how they do it. But a very like what caught my eye right off the bat with Rockwood is like they're 100% chemical free. They've also got this like good going
Not
crazy.
the computer. Not the computer.
But yeah, the way they make their charcoal is like super sustainable, and like they've got tons of regulations where they are, which is good. So that kind of keeps them balanced. But yeah, I feel like they do it really well, and I feel like in my experience that going from like the briquette that has the lighter fluid baked into it or whatnot, it just tastes way cleaner. Like, and that could just be like as you're cooking, like you got the smells going, and so like when I use the lighter fluid, like that lighter fluid just gets in my nose, and I feel like the whole time I'm cooking, it's just there, whether it's there or not in the actual food. Like mentally, like I can smell it the whole day. Same thing with those briquettes that have like the lighter fluid built in. Like I personally don't like them just because that smell is just obnoxious. But Rockwood is just like wood, like good smoke, just pure flavor. And it burns crazy hot.
I need to try those. I see them all the time at the
I think
local
it's
hardware
100%
store.
worth it. Yeah. But it's just like most of the time when I do a cook, like I've got tons of charcoal left over. And so you just like put the lid on, close up all the grates, and just you've got half your charcoal there ready to go next time.
Really?
That's what I love about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's great stuff. And I don't think that's Rockwood specific. It could be all like good quality lump charcoal could be that way.
Can I tell you a fun fact real quick?
Yeah, do it.
While we're in this. So, I only know this, honestly, because my wife just talked about it in a talk that she just gave. But Cole, my last name, is originated from charcoal.
Oh, nice.
And charcoal, by definition, is going through the fire. It's heated at 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
So the name charcoal or coal the meaning is to be refined through fire, which means that you can withstand the fire. So there you go.
Yes.
Fun little
Charcoal. Here we are.
And this is why he cooks
Corey
on
the
a
charcoal.
charcoal grill.
There we go.
He was born into it.
Actually, it's
That's
just
beautiful.
paper.
Just paper.
I wasn't born into it. I was adopted.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Hey, that still counts. Still counts.
Nice.
But yeah, so I don't think we need to talk more about fuel. Like I said, just talking with Jonathan, I think we could do a like charcoal specific episode, and like he said, like I'll nerd out as much as you want to on this stuff, and like we're a bunch of nerds, so like we could do that.
That'd be good.
No, that'd be cool. He'd be a great guest. I think can I get your guys' opinion on this? For me, my introduction to grilling in like college was that no one could afford an actual grill. So we all bought or borrowed or used the local apartment community's charcoal grill. So like
the metal ones
the
at the
metal
park.
ones at the park.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
the little
So
square
the little
boxes.
square boxes.
That who knows what's been on those
right,
things?
Exactly.
Dude, we have one in our gazebo area,
it's
like across
in
the
the
lawn.
neighborhood? In the
No
neighborhood?
one's used it.
Oh, really?
So I feel like I need to go break it in.
I think
Oh,
you should.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Start throwing some dogs at the kids. But no, I was just curious, like, is that your guys' experience as well? That like the grilling, my first grilling experience outside of my parents' home was on a charcoal grill.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
It's like a good starting point. it
Bro,
seems
I didn't know how to go get propane.
like. Absolutely, yeah.
I had no idea.
Right.
Like
I think
feel
I
like
learned
our
that after I got
parents'
married.
generation, like they didn't care about gas,
No.
like, because they
No.
didn't use gas.
Right.
No.
It's like I feel like
I was gonna say my dad always used gas growing up, and my experience was a little bit different. I actually got a gas grill cheaper than I could find a charcoal grill,
What?
and it was falling apart. Like you would
you
like
and your Facebook
Mr.
Marketplace.
Thrift store over here.
Yeah, the
Thrift store, and he's a child. He's younger than all of us. If you can't tell by just looking at him, he's gorgeous.
I don't know about that, but
but
I was gonna say, are we closer to Colton's age or Colton's dad's age?
Colton's dad's
His
age,
dad, probably.
I don't know about that. But you know the burners in the middle of the grill. So this like cheap gas grill that I got for free from just someone that my dad knew. it would have these crazy hot spots, crazy cold spots where like stuff would be raw. And like, I kind of figured it out. But when we moved, I took the grate out to like clean it up. I was going to try to like have somebody pick it up. And I realized those middle burners, there were just like holes missing out of them.
That's why they're
so
hot
they were
spots.
just,
Holes.
just flame
straight
shooting
flame
out.
right
yeah.
to it. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yes. Well, is this the transition
This is
to
a normal
to
transition
gas?
to gas.
Yes,
Look at
we're doing
that.
it. Yeah.
Nice setup, Colton. We're getting good.
Perfect. Perfect.
Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, I've got nothing really to add to gas. I mean,
So I will
it's
say,
convenient.
yeah,
it's
the
easy.
convenience
Yeah.
of it's one thing. I think I have a couple tips. So hot tips for gas, and especially those of you who are adulting. Grow up and buy a second propane tank, please. I mean, I can't.
That's the first thing I did.
literally cannot stress this enough.
I did 2
is
cooks.
worse.
I did 2 cooks where I ran out of propane. And I was like,
Never again. Yeah. If you are cooking with one if you're cooking with one propane tank, you are insane because if there's a gauge on yours, which you don't have, I promise you don't have, and if you do have it, it's not working.
The magnet ones are always wrong.
They're always
Oh,
wrong. So
pressure ones might be okay.
having a backup in the shed or just in the garage somewhere is a game changer because it doesn't go out when you're preheating it. It goes out when there's food on, and then you have to scurry about to try to figure that out. So having a second propane tank,
100%.
do that for yourself. You're welcome.
And they're not expensive.
Well, once you get them, like once you buy them for the first time, then refilling them's easier. And then when that one goes out, you put the new one on. Guess what? You have a chore to do on Sunday. Take that one and go get it refilled, and then put it back in the other spot.
Can I add to that tip?
Do it.
Don't freaking exchange it at the gas stations or anything like that. Go get your tank filled.
Like go to Ace Hardware or somewhere.
I made that mistake and I lost my good tank. And
Because
then,
you'll get one that leaks.
Oh, well, they give you a different tank.
They give you a different tank. So get a good tank, put your name on it, and keep that tank. Go to Ace Hardware or to Tractor Supply or something like that.
Places like that will do
and get it refilled.
Yeah, gas stations won't refill them there, obviously,
No.
because they don't have a big propane
They
tank,
exchange
but,
it.
Like
anywhere that has
Lowe's.
a
I think
big
Lowe's
one.
might trade them.
They use Lowe's trades.
Lowe's trades them. So the only place I know that around here for me is there's the Ace Hardware and Tractor Supply.
Go to a small hardware
Yeah.
shop. Yeah.
So that's the tip number 1. Get 2 tanks.
Yeah. Well, plus, when you have a second tank, you can buy this sweet little adapter, and if you do any kind of camping, you can just refill all of your like little tanks. propane stoves.
Yep.
There it is,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely tip number 1 when it comes to gas. The convenience factor is definitely there. I think the other side of that too that happens with that is and this is kind of laziness 101. I've ruined countless grills not cleaning my grill after we're done cooking. But after you're done cooking, the nice thing about a gas grill is that you can get everything done, cook the way you want it to, take everything off. You can turn those burners back up, close that lid, get it nice hot again, and then scrape all that stuff off. It'll save yourself a lot of time.
Yes.
So I am giving you this advice, but I don't do it every time.
Do you use a
Do
wire
as I
brush?
say, not as I do.
I have 2 different. I go through brushes. I've got a couple wire, just like the straight wire ones, but then the little bristles will break off every now and then. So then I have I have this like rubber one. I got the infomercial like sponge one that the firefighter guy uses.
I like the ones that are just wood, and like as you use them, they burn
They
to
burn
Yeah.
to it.
fit
That's
your
about right.
grates.
Yeah.
Those look pretty
I
sick.
will say when I am using my gas, but I guess with my charcoal too, I've stopped using the bristles because and maybe this is just me being over ridiculous. I watched a video of a young girl. Dude, she got such a bad infection because one of the
Oh, she
bristles
ate
were
one?
on there. And then it got in the burger, and then she ate one. It was like
In her
embedded
mouth.
into her mouth. And like,
Oh, jeez.
it got
Oh,
super
man.
infected. So I was like,
Gross.
nope, not using a brush anymore.
Yeah.
So I get it hot. My question to you though, how do you use your warming level? Do you have a warming level on yours, like a warming tray on yours?
On the top rack?
Yeah, top rack.
Yeah, that's where the dogs sit, bro.
Yeah. Okay. That's
It's like
that's
the offset, right?
I would say that's the key. Another key thing, like especially if you're going to do kebabs or like if you're doing fruit, like I will say, like when we are using it, I use that one more when we have a lot of people over.
Yeah.
My little grill ain't going to cut it, so we have the bigger one. That rack, man, that warming tray, dude, is legit for like pineapple.
Yeah.
I love grilled pineapple. Putting that up there,
So
so
drip down too.
just let it drip
extra,
down on,
extra goodness.
especially if you're doing chicken with the pineapple, and you just kind of
Yeah, man.
few-
Even
put
if
a
you
few
think
pieces
you
under there
know
and just
like
let it
where the
drip down.
cold spots are on your grill, like if the chicken is done, like just move
Just
it up.
Yeah, just move it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's
Go
I would
ahead.
say that's maybe a distinction too. I would argue that you won't get a better flavor out of anything. I think I said that backwards, but I would argue charcoal gives it the best flavor, but not everybody loves that
100%.
flavor. So,
Right.
like my wife is one of those where,
It tastes burnt or
like doing fruit or whatever, like you get a much cleaner taste, whether you prefer or don't prefer that. I like the smoky taste of a charcoal, but, and then I think you alluded at it, Andy. Unless you really know what you're doing with charcoal, you definitely have more control over the heat.
For sure.
A gas.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and then I will say like switching. I kind of want to continue to move on here to like, because I think we had a good segue into like the drip is from the pineapple coming down on what you're grilling. So I know this is probably your next question, but like, what is it that we're grilling? What's kind of like the go-to things that you guys are grilling on a frequent basis?
Burgers.
That's
probably the most that I do. I rarely do chicken, just because I think I've said before on other episodes, chicken makes me really nervous. Just with small children, I want to make sure that it's cooked thoroughly.
Get the
I have one, but it makes me nervous. So,
my wife's a white meat eater. Yes, we do a lot of chicken.
We do a lot of
Corey, I would argue too with the burgers, which is maybe why we like charcoal. Specifically, that is the best thing to do on a charcoal because that fat drips down and just starts smoking in there. Yeah.
So good, yeah.
That's what the gas tries to replicate with the little drip trays in there.
Right.
Not enough.
Can't get as good as charcoal.
No, cannot. No,
do you use wood chips?
Sometimes. I've been playing around with it recently. My dad just cut down a cherry tree, so I have a lot of little cherry kindling. So I've been just throwing a stick of cherry in there just to get a little extra smoke. I don't really know if I taste it or not, but
it's fun.
It's fun, yeah.
I wonder if you could put like a little tray or something underneath on your gas grill.
Oh yeah, they sell them.
Like to put
I've got
wood
like a
chips
little
in.
metal box that you fill with wood chips.
Oh,
Or you do what I do.
Isn't that
just
your-
take one of those pucks and just toss that back.
Just throw
Chucks
down
it in there.
Is this where the man candle comes in?
Yeah, the man
Yeah,
candle.
it would work. It would work. Yeah,
That would
The
work.
man
Yep.
candle would work.
How many episodes have we done where the man candle does not?
At-
I think
at
it just
least
needs to
3.
be on the table.
Yeah, we should just leave it on the table. It's hit at
permanently
least
out.
3 episodes.
For those of you that
More
don't
than
get that, go back and listen to the gear episode.
Yes.
Yes.
Get
What's
yourself
that,
a man
episode 2?
candle.
The man candle. Yes.
So burgers, as I heard that.
A lot of burgers, a lot of chicken.
We do a lot of chicken. We do a lot of venison. As I mentioned, I do a lot of my outdoor. I have a burner on the side, it's a gas burner. I would love to have a gas grill, a gas oven in the house, but we have an electric, so the gas is a lot more fun to cook on for me too. So I do a lot of my ground. I actually do ground and my ground and browned outside as well. But I know that you have other things on here like kebabs.
Dude, I'm craving some kebabs real
I
hard.
don't
been a while
always
since
struggle,
I had
and we've
one.
talked a little bit off air about kebabs. So curious, don't allude to this, but for you two, when you're making kebabs, just explain to us the order of which things go on the stick.
Didn't we talk about this?
We have
On one of the
Did we talk about
episodes?
it?
We talked about it
Okay.
on
I
different
couldn't
episodes.
remember if it was
We
on
have.
this
No,
or
it was.
afterwards.
I prefer.
Probably the sides episode, wasn't it?
I'll be honest. Maybe I'm a little bit different. I prefer doing all of my veggies on one and then my meat on one.
I think that
Got
was this consensus that look at Cole.
Oh, man.
I mean, presentation, like, yeah, you want to mix it up.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
We're taking pictures.
Listen,
I
I
think-
create horrible content. I don't care.
Here's the thing though, combining them, you
Butter.
mix the flavors. The key is to get them all the right sizes. You can't have a giant
still
piece of
need to-
chicken and a tiny
well,
mushroom.
it depends on how you like your vegetables.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Yeah.
times, you can balance them out, but
I
But
would
that's
agree
where
with
the chicken pineapple, like that's where like they
nothing
have,
but chicken pineapple.
They have to be together because of the pineapple juice coats the
that.
chicken.
Oh yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
all,
I mean
yeah.
that's acceptable for sure.
Yeah,
But
pineapple.
You know
like,
how else you get the all the flavors together? When I take a bite of it and it's all.
I was going to say what's on my plate.
yes.
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like I could be convinced either way. I've done both ways, and I don't know that I like truly have a strong preference.
Do you
I
guys have
definitely don't.
wood skewers or do you have metal ones?
Wood.
I need some metal ones.
I
don't
have
really
wood, and I
Although
always
I'm-
light them on fire.
Well, yeah, I do that.
You have to soak them.
But I'm also terrified that if I do get the metal ones, I would forget and just
Grab it.
grab it off
Yeah.
the grill and
Wow.
Yeah, I've never used the metal ones. I've only ever.
We have both at the house, and I've gone back and forth, but I go back to the wood ones because I just think they're fun.
Yeah.
I will say sometimes I do forget to soak them, and they're just
And then they're
on
kindling.
fire.
Yes.
So we missed a big one too. We do, I would say primarily what I grill is fish.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
On the
do-
grill?
You probably eat more fish than the rest of us, though, right?
Yeah, we eat a lot of fish.
A lot of mercury over there.
A lot of people, well,
I'm just kidding.
Carp.
that's
A lot of carp.
so Andy brought up a good point though. Fish wise, we eat a lot of like the mid-sized fish because they're lower in the metals and stuff. But
You should have been here last week talking to Jason about
Oh, man.
Yeah.
our
'Cause, like-
ponds and streams, and
Yeah, it's
you'll fire him up talking about that.
that's why we do a lot of mahi because it's a saltwater fish and it's a pretty small size compared to a lot of the fish you buy at the store. But a lot of people don't grill fish because it's tricky.
It's hard.
It is, yeah.
It is very hard.
But I like to think I've dialed it
What
in
are,
at
what are
least.
some of your secrets to making fish not suck?
I was
on
gonna
the
say
grill?
because I've never had a successful fish on the grill that
So-
I've done.
Grilling, I've had the most luck with if I can, which a lot of times this is mostly salmon or sea bass or something. Get the large fillets, so like the whole half a salmon, and you got to do, in my opinion, skin on, because
Yes.
a lot of the problem with grilling fish is it crumbly fall apart. So I sear the flesh side first, and then once I get the sear I want on it, flip it to the skin side, and then offset or whatever till it comes up to temp, and it.
Actually, I talked to my buddy KJ,
Mhm.
college buddy, and he said the exact same thing. Yeah, grilling fish, like just keep the skin on.
Yeah.
And it'll solve 90% of your problems.
Interesting.
He also said get a giant like fish spatula, so like you're
Ooh.
flipping the whole
thing
fillet at
around.
once.
Okay.
Because most of the time when I cook fish, I do not have that killer spatula,
It's
and it
two
just breaks
spatulas
in half.
and you're
Yeah.
like trying
Two
to-
spatulas with maybe I get my wife in there with a third. You know?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Or just like try some tongs. Yeah, it doesn't work.
I've only really ever, as far as not restaurant style grilled fish, but I've only ever had a hobo fish. You know
What is
hobo
this?
Fish is?
Oh, and the
Aluminum
It's,
foil.
it's cooking in aluminum foil.
Oh yeah.
That's how my
It's
family
legit.
does it.
Mhm.
I just always hated
Get your butter
it
rolling in there.
You got
Get
well,
your butter.
you can get a lot of butter in that.
Get a
That's
lot of
like-
butter and everything. I just always hated it because I'm like, man, like I feel like this is a lot of work picking through these bones for just a little bit of meat.
Well, that's like
man.
a steamed fish.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of blanched and butter.
We'll do a
Yeah.
lot of. We've done that before on the grill, where we'll basically make little boats for the salmon. Like we'll do pieces of salmon and put it in there, because then you can put lemon juice. You can do your seasonings. You want garlic. You want butter. You can kind of build your own, and that's kind of what we've done before. It's like I want mine with more heat in it. Krista can kind of have hers her way, and then you can make those boats. And
It's like a hobo dinner.
yeah,
Is anybody a cedar plank user?
Yes, love it.
I've tried it one time and I lit it on fire, so I didn't soak it long enough.
I have some in the pantry. I haven't tried them yet.
Okay.
My mom. That's how my mom does it.
Okay.
Well, explain for the people at home that don't know that process.
I've never done it. I love the fish that comes on it though.
You don't
My mom
cook it,
does
you just eat it.
But you soak them.
You soak
in
them
water.
Oh, okay.
Soak cedar plank.
Soak it,
Basically
and then-
just, I don't know what does cedar, because you're not
Is the
supposed
fish sitting on
to
the
burn
wood?
it. Yeah.
So then you flip the meat on the wood.
I've never, I think I've
So
tried
we
it
know
once,
nothing about
and it was
this.
just kind of mediocre.
Okay,
But-
this is why
Yeah,
we're
I
okay
don't
with
really
this.
understand how it works, to be honest.
Somebody write in and
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell us
Apologies for not knowing.
pro
those
cedar
things.
or no cedar.
But that's why I like
Hashtag. that.
I like grilling fish because it's great on a cast iron. I'm sure we all do
I
that.
feel like-
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
the one time I did the cedar, like it didn't come out mushy, but it wasn't like that. We didn't get the crisp
Yeah.
skin, the grill marks, all that
No,
stuff. So it was
I'm
just,
out.
I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
Is it more of like a smoke at that point? Because it's like you're separating from that heat. So you're kind of baking the fish at that point.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Not
baked on
grilling
cedar.
it.
It's like baked
I don't
fish,
know.
but on the grill.
It's not something that appeals to me because I love a good crust
Yeah,
on
somebody write in.
fish
Tell
or
us what's up.
steak or whatever. So.
I'm
Tell us
on
why
the
we're
fish
wrong.
note before we move on. Like all I'm good at is catching bluegill, and I just throw them on their whole. Like, you gut them and just you cook them whole, and just like Corey said,
Well,
you
it's
just
exciting.
eat them off the bones, and
Yeah, I'm excited to try to do some fishing this year, and I'm not a fan of just messing around with fish. Like doing the catch and release thing. I'd like to eat what's coming out of it, but we live in an area where
take
that's gonna
Corey's
live.
grill onto your boat,
Right.
and just
right
put
there.
the sucker
Right
straight
there.
on the fire.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
My last experience with bluegill Have any of you hunted down in Perry County, down south?
Not that far south, no.
Man, it's the Hoosier National Forest. It's so thick, it's crazy. So we always go down there, and it's a at least a 2-nighter going down there. But there's this spot that my family's been going to for years. There's a pond that you can go and fish, and I don't know if it's stocked or if it's just naturally like they just keep breeding in there. But we get like 20, 30 bluegill between 2 or 3 of us. Well, the last time we went, and I was significantly younger, still very new to the woods, we got them, went back, cooked them, cleaned them over the grill and all that stuff. Well, we're just chucking them as far as we can. Well, and then the coyotes decided.
Oh, jeez.
You're talking about, I mean, I'm new to the woods.
And now there's dogs.
So this is the last time, bro. And you're in a tent. There's not a lot of protection.
There's nothing more eerie than just the sound of coyotes fighting over food.
And it's pitch black.
Right outside your tent.
The only light you have is the firelight, which makes everything else around pitch black. You can't see anything. So that was my last experience cooking bluegill over fire.
We had a lot of bluegill growing up, but I feel like we don't mess with them much anymore because moved on to bigger fish.
Less grown up to walleye.
There's bigger fish to fry.
Yes.
Walleye, bass.
Yes.
Right on.
Well, I feel like that's a great transition to Campfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which, it's different than charcoal, but not that different. But like anybody do like
It does depend
Fire
on
cooking.
what type of wood that you have, though.
yeah.
I'll be honest. I really don't enjoy buying the wood
Yeah.
now because I know we've got the ash, bro, and all that other stuff that's going on. So they really want you.
Oh, you have to buy the wood
You have
at
to
your
buy
campsite.
the wood at the campsite. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they treat it or something.
Well, I have. I'm not really proud of this, but I'm not a big camper, to be honest. I love hunting. I love it, but I like to have a bed to sleep in at night, or don't go to bed. Just
I'm
be
moving
out the
more and
whole
more
time.
that way.
I mean, I got to figure it out, but I don't like it.
I got a
dig
tip
it.
for you. We'll do a camping episode, camp
Yes.
cooking. But when you switch and I show you how to sleep in a hammock the right way, you'll never sleep in another tent again.
Yeah.
When we go camping, my family sleeps in the tent. I sleep in the hammock.
Yeah.
Nice.
Open flame, like over a fire, is probably the trickiest, hardest way to cook. But if you get
I
it
agree.
right, I mean, like some of like the best world-class restaurants do like open flame stuff, and I've never had enough money to eat at a place like that, but it looks delicious. So
It's what's that?
Burger King, baby.
What's
Charbroiled, baby.
yeah, what Chef's Table on Netflix.
Yeah.
They have a few episodes where
Yeah.
they just do a lot of campfire
cool.
cooking.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, I love the idea
Super
of it,
cool,
and we have a solo stove at the house, and so I've got a great setup to actually try to play with that a little more. It's just again like when you get so
do it.
I need to try it.
Experiment, yeah. Well, that's another big thing.
We don't go without, but I will say I don't go without the cast iron though.
Yeah.
I take the cast
But
iron.
then, yeah, it counts, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it's still hot.
Yeah, so talking with Jonathan with Rockwood, backing up to that, I asked him for tips, and he's like, I hate tips. Like, just experiment. Like, that is my tip. Just, like, get out and just explore stuff. Experiment with different things. But then he was also like, once you find something that works, like, keep that consistency going.
yeah.
So, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, so if we don't have a lot to talk about, I really want to talk about the flat top grilling because I have an idea, thing I want to try. Go ahead.
I would say before we get off
Okay.
Campfire, the one thing I'll say about that is, and this kind of goes back to the heirloom recipe. I feel like the only time I cook on a fire, open flame, is I'm doing some sort of camping. So with that, it's maybe not the best food I've had, but there's a lot of memories attached to that.
Right.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, which I'll tell quickly, is I grew up going to the Boundary Waters with my dad, which for those of you that don't know, it's a big section. It spans part of Canada. And is it just Minnesota or is it other states as well?
Not sure.
It's the boundary, so.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't go past Minnesota.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Well, yeah, so you go in and you got to get a special permit or license. I forget. And we would go in for a week and camp. And one year, my dad brought his buddy who is a stay-at-home dad and just basically became a gourmet chef just as his hobby. And he brought like a Yeti cooler with just like skirt steaks and everything. So, we're in the Boundary Waters where most people are eating like freeze dried meals. And one of our first nights there, we had skirt steaks cooked over a fire. And that remains one of my like fondest memories of eating over a fire.
Awesome. That's a really cool one.
You guys canoeing or get dropped in?
Yeah, canoeing.
Me too.
That's fun.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, that's awesome. That's a great story. Actually, that's a lot of fun. And
Meat Eater has their brand new Campfire book out. And I really want to get that and start cooking more.
I'm really excited about that because he was mentioning it. Steve was talking through that on one of their episodes on YouTube, and there's other real good tips and tricks and like ideas and like theories in that book. So I'm really excited to get that and kind of talk with you guys about that as well.
Well, I think we definitely need to have a campfire episode because there's
get that crackling fire in the background.
There's a lot of like I've learned. My background is summer camps.
Yeah.
So I do have a lot of.
You got some meals.
I would say that's where the open fire. That's where I've got some really good recipes.
I gotta stop just doing like pudgy pies, and like hobo with like the hobo stew, like in the foil bag.
Some dampa, which you probably don't know what that is. I'll tell you real quick. You get a stick. Typically, like you bring like a really nice one that's really thick. You get some Pillsbury biscuits, wrap it around it. Let that cook on the open flame.
Okay.
And then you've got a nice opening. I want to be mature. Nice opening.
Corey's looking at me and I'm looking at him like I'm trying to be an adult right now.
And then like you take like jams and jellies and stuff like that and chocolate and put down.
Oh man, that sounds good.
So you basically just like making an ice cream cone.
It's an Australian treat. So.
Let's do it.
Have you guys ever tried the straight, like where you let the campfire go down and you do a steak just like directly on the coals?
Yep, directly on the coals. Yep.
Talk about that for a second because I'm curious.
I love it because they have to be piping hot.
Don't you get like ash and stuff on the steak?
But you don't taste it.
You're camping. It doesn't matter.
You don't taste it.
Back to the memories.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because chances are you probably have brought a baggie or something like that of salt or pepper or garlic seasoning, whatever. Like I always do a baggie of that blend. That's my camping seasoning. And so like you get that on there real good, maybe pour some water on it first, pat it down, dry it, and then throw that seasoning on there, and then you just throw it in there. But it's even, I like to leave it. So I'll take some and scoop it up and put it on top of it and just let it sit. I don't like to flip it. I'll just put the nice hot coals on top of it. It's really good.
I've heard it all just dust off like nothing sticks.
You can't taste it at all.
Okay.
If you're camping and you're a camping person,
do that.
It's not gonna bother you.
That's part of the perk of camping. Like everything tastes better, so like you can not be a good cook, and it's gonna taste great because you're camping.
You stink anyway at that point.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I've had things backpacking and camping where like I come home and
you try to make it.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that was really good while I was backpacking, and then I try it and I'm like, wow, this is terrible.
This is bad. But everything else was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so good then.
Yeah.
Flat tops.
So flat tops. So I'm intrigued with as we cook more and more. I do a lot of the prepping, the meal prepping that I do. I feel like I could do almost everything on a flat top. Mm-hmm. So I'm real tempted to. My grill's on the way out. I also, this is kind of a point of pride for me right now. I'm a 37-year-old man, and I've never actually bought a new grill. I've always been able to find one or get one from someone. Like it's a hand-me-down type of scenario. So I have a really nice one right now.
Let me interject. Like one of the tips from Kevin, my college buddy, was like, on the topic of adulting, he's like, don't skimp on a grill. It's
it's time to buy one.
You're grown up. Sorry, Colton. You're grown up to like just spend the money on a good grill. Like you will not regret it.
And I cook on it literally
at
least 2 times a week.
You're debating. Like, you have a kid.
So I'm debating. My debate.
Are you going to get another gas or the flat top?
Well, I'm debating about getting like the gas flat top. Like what's the brand?
Blackstone. But everyone's coming. Like Weber just came out with one.
Traeger even has one.
Traeger has one. I guess at that point, it's the price point.
a lot of the gas grills now have inserts too. They're just not as.
So that's what I
big.
use now is that I'll either put the cast iron inside the grill if I need a flat top in that scenario, or I have this like sheet that I'll use for vegetables that like locks them in and off to the side, so I can still like stir them up in there, like almost like stir fry on that little setup. But again, I go back to the fact that like if I'm already using basically a flat top for everything, like why just
Yeah.
Well, I think
like do I need the gas grill anymore, or do I do the flat top and then
I
get a
really
charcoal
want one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd say go flat
Because
top
then
and
you can-
charcoal.
Because
Is that the
honestly,
play?
you can get a really cheap charcoal. Like you can go to Walmart right now and get like a $69,
Yeah.
60. I think they're like $64 or something like that.
If
And
that,
they're,
yeah.
they're a good size. I've been wanting a Blackstone for a while. Like pancakes.
That's on our list too.
We do, and that's the other thing. I do. I love making the breakfast stuff. For like it's one of my very favorite things to do on Sundays especially when Austin's back from school. We'll do bacon and stuff, and I can't eat the pork, but Krista and Austin love it. So we'll do bacon. We'll do all the stuff like that on the grill, and that'd be really awesome to be able to do pancakes. Because I'll do that outside, and I'll have to go back inside to do the pancakes. It's just it'd be nice to
Do it all.
Let's get it all.
What I like about the dedicated flat top is like the size.
Right.
Like
That's
such a
And
large.
then going back to I like different temperature areas, and like you can do that so well
Yeah.
with that setup. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got the cast iron griddle that I throw on my grill sometimes, and it's all right. Like it literally doesn't fit in my grill, so I kind of have to jerry rig it, which isn't the safest. But
There is a company. I will have to find them. I think they're on Instagram. They have a.
Did you
electric-
send that to us?
I did send it.
Yeah.
To you, yeah, where it fits on top of your electric stove,
Yeah.
and it sits
Looks
on,
super-
and it's a flat top, and the way the induction works from how it sits on there, the pressure points and all that stuff, it gets, consistent heat, and then you can do your temperature areas and stuff like that. I've thought about getting that. I hate having an electric stove, and I know they're trying to ban them. Gas stoves in the U.S. right now, which is stupid. But I think I think when we go to build, if we can't end up doing a gas stove once we do this build, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Flat top.
Well, you just need the ventilation. That's how you get around it.
The gas.
Yeah, they're just requiring some sort of ventilation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We cut you off. What
Yeah, we did.
Did you forget what you were going to say?
Oh no, I was just saying with the Blackstone. I mean, what Andy and Corey were saying, you can do literally anything on them, which is great. But then, like, if you're meal prepping or have a family, I use my cast iron for everything. And I mean, I have to, like, when I'm doing burgers on it inside, I've got to do like 4 or 5 rounds.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've mentioned it before. My wife is getting into all the sourdough stuff, so we use a starter for our. Probably once a week we make homemade tortillas.
Nice.
And I can fit one in my cast iron at a time. So it takes me like 30 minutes to make a batch of tortillas versus, a Blackstone, throw all, 12 on there at the same time. And
Yeah, so it's definitely become more popular, that the whole the Blackstone or flat top cooking in general. I'm not really sure how the heating parts work. I don't know if you guys does anyone have one here?
I do not.
my neighbor does.
Yeah, it's like basically is it a gas grill underneath it? Okay, 'cause it runs on propane.
Well, there's burners. So you have like a set number of burners.
Yeah. Now they have camping ones. Blackstone has a camping, like a smaller camping version too.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, just the idea of having all of that space and being able to like just have things rolling on it at all times gets me going. I gotta get my Benihanas going.
Yes. What kind of like your coffee habits? Like,
Right.
My dilemma is going to be just convincing my wife that I need another grilling implement out on the porch.
If I end up with a Blackstone, that grill's going away. So it's going to be a one or the other.
See, I wouldn't replace it. I would just add to the collection.
If I had to do it over, I would probably go, if I could have one grill, even if it meant getting rid of my charcoal. I think
So that's a good
I would pick
question.
the
If you had
flat top
to
over
pick
charcoal.
one forever, what would be? And I feel like right now, I don't even own one. It would be a flat top.
The only reason I say that, Chris, is much
wouldn't
as
do
I
it.
love my charcoal, I could still do steaks in my cast iron and be happy. So
See, I need that flame. I can't do it.
I would struggle because my mind going where it goes all the time.
It's to butter.
If something happens and we can't get fuel, I can always cook on my charcoal because I can always go and find wood.
you can do that in your backyard, though. Dig a hole.
Yeah, you don't need a kettle for that. Oh my gosh. Any
It
other
always comes back to butter.
any other topics here we need to address? I mean, we didn't really talk about food much. I mean, we can talk.
Yeah,
We could talk food for days.
Well, that's the thing. I think what's cool about when you're thinking about grilling is basically anything you could, whether you're talking about baking or putting in the oven, you can do a lot of that on the grill.
Oh, yeah.
Just especially with indirect cooking. That's what a lot of what we're doing is searing and then essentially popping it in the oven. We're just doing it all in one device.
Yep.
So that's what I think is so cool about the grill is it allows you to maybe like if you're looking for a different flavor profile that you're after and kind of your point on charcoal or even you can get the man candle in there. Is that you have an opportunity to play with a little more flavor if you're using an outdoor cooking device like that, like a grill. So that's what I think is so cool about it. And it doesn't really matter what you're cooking. You can most likely do it on a grill.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it just, as a man, it just connects you back to the basics, cooking over fire, there's just something primitive about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, specifically thinking steaks, there's something that the fire does that just caramelizes the meat better than any other method.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Plus you can hit the tongs.
Gotta click the tongs. Yes. Well, are we ready for the recipe here?
Yes. Your
I
controversial.
don't know if you guys are gonna like it or not.
I don't. I already know.
Andy we had a discussion about this beforehand.
I'm out
to
too.
the listeners. They are all out.
We're waiting.
So
Please write in and tell Chris.
We're
that you
curious
are also out.
what everyone thinks here. So yeah, I'm talking to Kevin Johnson, my college buddy. They love. I mean, he grills a lot. He's like minimum 3 days a week, all year round. They're grilling
awesome.
something. So kind of like Andy, like all his cooking is out on the grill. And they love to grill salads. So he'll take kale, which I'm on the fence about kale, but he'll throw kale like in a grill basket on the grill. He doesn't quite char it up a little bit. A little bit. He doesn't char it up a lot, but chars it up a little bit. Olive oil, salt. He says direct flame for 90 seconds, and he'll do it in batches. He'll do like a big old thing of kale. But yeah, the Kin's light Caesar dressing, cherry tomatoes, and that's it. So a grilled Caesar salad.
But he's
So
using
I don't-
kale though.
yeah.
So that's how he's getting. I was like,
that
when
different?
you were talking. Well, no, when you were talking about earlier, in my head, I was like, you was like a head of lettuce is going on this thing. Like that's gonna.
I've
be
had like a
mushy.
charred quarter of like romaine, and it wasn't horrible.
Romaine, it could probably handle it too.
So I've
What were
had
you
a
thinking that
wedge
you don't
salad
like?
like that, where you
Yeah,
get like
wedge. Okay.
half of a,
Iceberg lettuce. Or whatever.
yeah, just grilled like that.
So what were you poo-pooing earlier? Just
Well, just that so kale. A lot of people will like bake kale. Kale will handle heat way better than like your average piece of romaine or something like that, where they'll wilt right
it's more
away.
starchy, right? It's
Yeah.
not
So
quite as
You
watery.
make kale chips.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So
Those are good.
I think that
Okay.
was the thing that we
love
didn't know
kale
when you
chips.
started with this.
Didn't know it was kale.
Grilled
I
salad.
was picturing like soggy, wet
that's
romaine.
that's what I was thinking too. Like, what did you do? Why did you make my lettuce hot?
As soon as you said
Hot
kale,
lettuce.
I mean, kale chips are. I'm a weirdo, but that's like one of my favorite snacks. So
Oh, they're super healthy.
Mm-hmm.
that's where I put that
Need to get
nutritional
into it.
yeast on that you guys hate.
Here we
So-
go.
Oh my god.
We don't hate it. We just don't
Not
know
sure
anything about
about
it.
If your yeast tastes like cheese, you're okay with it.
Hey, I'll bring some next time.
All right.
Yeah.
You can bring
Yes,
that.
I'll
and
try
I'll bring
it.
you some Vegemite, and we can trade.
Get serious. Okay. Is that everything?
I think
I think
that's
Did
that's it.
we covered enough?
I think moving from this though, I think everyone can look forward to a campfire cooking,
that'd be sweet.
grilling episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Convince me to camp. I'll be
Maybe
there.
we'll all
Let's do it.
actually camp sometime.
Listen,
You're camping.
we have
We need to do a catch, clean, cook hunting
we
trip
we
sometime.
definitely do,
Yes.
and then we'll bring Jason with us for that.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think to get you introduced to it,
Mhm.
we don't need
Let's
to go
be
anywhere
Just to be
fancy.
very clear, I have camped
I know you
before.
did.
I
I
just
get-
don't enjoy
Enjoy
it.
it.
Just don't like it.
To make it easy, let's get down to my farm.
Mhm.
We'll
Yes.
go. That way it's simple. No one else is around. We can just enjoy being guys, pop off some rounds while we're down there, and do an episode.
Yeah.
And
While we're
find a
down there.
$120,000 Airstream, right?
Right, for me
For
to
Andy.
sleep in. Where's my shower?
Oh, jeez. Come on. All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to the partners. We have Outdoor Edge specifically. Use code OKC20 for 20% off. Let us know. Yeah, how do you guys like to grill your salads.
Please let us.
Let us. Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Okay, we're done.
Write us in. Find us on socials. Grilling tools. KT was talking about a potato tool he has.
What do you need
Like-
besides tongs?
It's like a rotisserie for potatoes. We'll talk about it later. He
Okay.
said he was going to send me a picture, and he never did. So it'll be on the next
curious.
gear episode.